Hello and good afternoon, my gabbers. I am here to give you another episode of The Bold and the Beautiful for March 30th, 2016. And thank you for coming back to Dale Chanel's 48th World. Okay, why don't we get right on into it? Let's see here. Um, the scene takes place with Caroline coming over to the Forrester Creations office complex, and she's visiting Ridge. But when she gets into the office part of his office door, she comes in and has a surprise with Thomas being there. And of course, both men are like very happy to see her and the baby as well. Um, Thomas is in there getting his draws. Ooh, that was bad one. Getting his drawings reviewed by his father, approval on some of the designs that he had put out for his dad to look at. So that's the reason Thomas is in the building and in his father's office. So they welcome her in. Of course, they're wanting to see the baby, and the baby's fine. He's cooing and looking good and all of that. But there's no tension involved. It's a happy moment. So we leave that scene. We go to Brooke and Bill. Brooke is meeting with Bill at Spencer's Publishing Corporation, and Bill is asking Brooke what did he feel, what she feels about yesterday's dinner fiasco, and she's saying that she don't believe Katie's drinking because Katie would have shown some definite signs of relapse, or you know it was just too quick to try to judge her on the emphasis of whether she was drinking or not due to that outburst of rudely displayedness. Will you stop it, boy? Okay, sorry about that. And she was basically trying to reassure Bill that she don't really believe anything is going on. But Bill is like, hey, why don't we just test that theory of yours? Why don't you go on over there and visit your sister, and then just have a once over look at her behavior, her demeanor, and see if you can find out a little something, something for me. Because, I am a little worried. I'm still a little worried. What is you doing over there? Woo, he get on my nerves, Lord. Anyway, um, and just ascertain the situation for me, because I trust you. I believe in your judgment. If you really say, after going over, having some time alone with Katie, you feel that she's not necessarily dipping and dabbing in the alcohol, then I take your word for it. Word is bond. And so she attempts to go over and try to ease um Bill's concerns, whether Katie is drinking or not, and whether it's appropriate for her to be left with their son. Because I think that's the other aspect he's looking at as well. Even though they do have a nanny on site, but of course she's probably there for, excuse me, the morning and afternoon hours, and pretty much when he comes home, they're taking care of their son themselves. So we leave there. We go to Katie. Katie is doing a little reflection of her past behavior in the kitchen area, and it's kind of like overwhelming her a little more than she would like it to be. So she goes and finds her a vodka bottle, and she takes a swig. Okay, and she's seeming like she's trying to pull herself together, but she's using that as the alcohol as a crutch, and something that she needs to use in order to get through her day. So we leave that scene. We go on to Bill and Brooke again. Both of them are still discussing Katie's behavior within his office complex, confined in his office. And he just thinks she may be having binges where maybe she's drinking and she's hiding it. And then when nobody's looking, she's going, you know, she's using the alcohol as being a destructive type weapon of coping. And he's just not satisfied. He wants for it to go on over there and just relieve him of his anxiety and the feelings that he's having about his wife and her sister, Katie. So we have another flashback moment. We leave Bill and Brooke and we go to Katie. She's reflecting on taking another swig because, gosh, her anxiety is building up. The pressures of, reflecting back on what she's seen personally when she visited the office in the past. In this particular scene where she hears Brooke confessing her love to her husband, and then she actually peeps in the door and see Brooks cradling her hand around his face and confessing that she still loves him and she wished it could be different, but she's not going to stand in the way of him. Oh, excuse me. Ugh. It's the pollen, y'all. Because it makes me sleepy and I have to take Benadryl. And then I get sleepy off that. It's just, Georgia in the springtime. I tell you, I love it. But I don't like what blooms and what sprays from the trees. Because it's just, ooh, it's a hot mess right now. So please forgive me. And if you haven't seen my pollen count for today, go check out my other videos that I have related to pollen, and you can get the update for today, March 30th. Just thought I'd plug that in. But like I said, she's just revisiting all the moments that she feels Brooke let her down and somehow seemingly come into her relationship with her husband, and she seems like she's trying to be replaced. But again, it is something that a person will fall back to when they're feeling low, or they're having low self-esteem issues. They will go back to the parts of their life that wasn't so comfortable being in and handling that particular situation. So I think it's always going to be something, excuse me, she's going to have to attack aggressively by staying in reality and not focusing on her mind hallucinating to another event of what she's kind of expressing emotionally, but getting a grip on what she really feels is happening is not happening. I mean, it's almost like a double-edged sword because Brooke wants to be nice, but it's like she should have just went on and took the course of, filling Bill out, marrying Bill, getting through whatever type of chemistry she may have thought they had, and then, letting that play out before trying to toss it to Katie when she wasn't finished with it. It's just like a child with a toy, where it's their toy. They've had the toy for so long, but they have another interest in another toy, but yet they don't want to let go of that initial toy just because they're going to play with this other toy. And it seems like that's what Brooke tends to mimic in her lifestyle of dealing with men. She don't want to, Ridge was supposed to be the love of her life, her soulmate, this, that, and the other, but yet she charted off, messing with Bill. So it just really comes to the matter of fact. I understand where Katie's going with it, but she's going to have to understand if she's going to have a relationship with her sister, pretty much she can't have a man around him. She can't have those intimate dinners that she would like to have with family members because Brooke cannot be trusted. That's a known factor. She don't play well in the sandbox. So it's not something that she has to come to terms with, but both her as well as Brooke has got to come to terms with it because both of them suffers from depression, even though Brooke doesn't like to have that labeled on her. But it's true. She does go into a moment of breaking away from the family and doing what she wants to do, even though she knows boundaries have been set when it comes to focusing on men. But if she's feeling that person at the time and they're vulnerable with her alone, also being vulnerable, they're going to have that connection, whether it's right or wrong what they're doing. And half the time, yes, it is wrong. But in essence, Brooke tends to have excuses for her actions and she can back them up with the reasoning when in essence there is no reason. She was just out of line, out of bound, and she broke so many barriers. So it's almost like she's a hypocrite when it comes to Katie. And Katie's expressing her emotions, even though she's taking the situation and making it worse by repeatedly enabling herself to focus on relieving her pain and her tension through another substance, which can, be detrimental to her if she don't get it under control, and that's the alcohol. But like I said, it is a messed up situation on both parts, on all three of their parts, and hopefully they'll work it out and forge ahead. Like I said, Katie and Wyatt would be an excellent couple up and form a relationship if they could get it together, because both of them deserve love. They're good people. If we must be in the frame of mind of taking them as human beings and people, even though they're actors and actresses. But in their world, they deserve to have love as well. And it's just not working out for them. It's just not working out. But like I said, she's going through her flashback moments, and you know, in order for her to cope with her reality without slipping, in her fantasy world of what she feels is going on, even though it's not going on, or she's anticipating it to be that way sometime down the road, it's not healthy. And it's not healthy with her including alcohol as well. So that's basically what she's doing. But she gets her another little swig, and it's all right for now. So we go back to Caroline, Red, Stephanie, and Thomas. Everybody is cooing over the baby when Steffi walks in, and she's cooing with the baby as well. But she wants to drop down her own good news, and that is that she decided to, be Wyatt's wife sooner rather than later, and she informs everyone in the office that she's getting married on Thursday, and she would like to have Caroline's support in being her matron of honor. And of course, Katie's making all these little sly comments to her, and she's just doing it out of love and just want to be funny and all this and that, because she is a lot younger of a mate suited for her dad. She's actually probably Steffi's age, so yeah, I wouldn't want nobody calling me their stepmom either. So that was a little joke on the side. And that's basically what it was. She just came in to try to find everybody, and she pretty much found everybody of importance other than probably her grandfather, Eric Forster, and Pam. And I'm pretty sure she'll let them know as well. But she just wanted to secure that fact that her father knew, which was Ridge, and she could secure Caroline to be her matron of honor since she can't seem to get in touch with her mom. The scene flows back to Bill and Wyatt. Well, Wyatt is over at his dad's office. He's pretty much trying to solidify his dad to be his best man. And Bill's giving him a hard time because he feels that a best man should be his brother since he has one. And if he wasn't around and didn't have a brother, it would be automatically, thought that he would be the best man of his son's wedding. But however, he does make a valid point, and it brings up the whole dynamics of where is Liam anyway. So, Wyatt has a little feeling about it here and there, negatively speaking, because he don't really want him there because he might hinder the process of the marriage even taking flight or taking off in a sense. But then he's really thinking, on a humanistic type, way of viewing things, that yeah, he would like to have his brother, but he don't want to make it a big point of trying to find him. That's why he's enlisting that his father marries him while his brother's out there somewhere safe, he hopes. But he kind of basically wants to get married before he's seen or put back on the scene, because it just is what it is. He know Steffi will probably have reservations about going through with the wedding until she's gotten all her answers answered, or where he's been all this time. And of course, when he really relates to where he's been, Steph is going to notice that it wasn't his fault. And she has to give that relationship a try. And you know how that goes. Why they ain't going to have a prayer in hell. So he's trying to get married prior to that even coming up and being a problem. We leave there. We go back to Quinn and Liam. Liam is telling Quinn he's remembering things again, and he's just really appalled that she's not wanting to be his support system and finding out a little bit more. It's like she should be more enabling him to probably go to the doctor, get some tests done, and this, that, and the other to help remember and stuff, or at least take him to the place where they supposedly had gotten married, so it would jog his memory, because he really feels it will help him and not hinder him, as Quinn is supposedly speculating it would do more harm than helping. So he's kind of looking at her a little sideways, like, no, it's something else. It's something else to this of why you don't want me to find out about my past. And it may be something that you had something to do with. So he's thinking in the terms of him how he needs to be thinking. He's not being that shallow person, that person like a bird has gotten his wings clipped or damaged and somehow, and he's needing help. No, he feels that he is very well settled. He's not having the headaches anymore. He's thinking clearer. He's feeling good about himself. He's feeling healthy enough to research and to do some damage into finding out who he is. And he sees that he's not going to have Quinn, or how she calls herself, Eve, support. So he's going to have to devise a plan where he can pretty much fill out everything for himself and find out just who the heck is he. After Quinn leaves to call herself going to check with the real estate agent to see how much money she can either get back or how much money she's going to lose with them trying to, get the house situated, put back on the market for leasing or whatever. I guess maybe she owns the property, but she didn't pay it enough. She hadn't gotten back enough equity to sell the place. So she's just going out just to find out, the different ins and outs of whether she's going to lose money or whether she's going to gain money from her leaving so abruptly. So as she goes along, Liam goes back to his hiding place of where he's hidden the wedding albums, because at first he was trying to be facetious with Quinn when she asked him what did he do with the wedding albums, and he was like, well, I don't know, I'm pretty good at losing things, and he was just throwing a punk shot at her because he feels that she's not on his side anymore about trying to find out who he is, and his obsessiveness with trying to find that information out. She's not being a good servant and helping him in that manner. So he wants to be a little mysterious on whether or not he knows where those albums are, which pisses her off, but she goes on and leave them to himself, and then he goes and run to where he's hidden the albums, and he's still reflecting about why he feel he can't trust Quinn anymore, but he knows her as Eve, and he's just questioning everything of why he's there, what was he doing before he got there, and is he really supposed to be there? So he's kind of sensing how the viewers want him to sense, so he can figure out what's going on so he can get the hell out of there. But his memory is coming back more faintly, and he's kind of, like I said, hearing certain sounds in his mind, and trying to recapture the moment of when that picture was actually photographed and what took place. So he's putting things together slowly but surely. He's coming to his senses. We go to the scene of Katie and Brooke. Brooke drops by, and we know she was coming by because Bill was so insistent that she does go by their place and just have conversation with her sister and just see where her head and her mind is at, because he don't think either one of them are screwed on too tight. But just to alleviate his fears and his concerns, Brooke goes over to see Katie unannounced, and she's just telling her to come in the kitchen area and they can have some tea or coffee, but I think it was tea that she had made for her. And she was being upbeat with her and telling, letting her know that she was sorry for handling herself inappropriately. The night last night when she was over for dinner, that it really shouldn't have happened, but she just lost her composure. She is going through depression, and she's trying to make each day a better day for herself and for her family. And then something happens on the outside. I think Bill Jr. is outside playing with the nanny. He loves to throw up against the house, his ball. And it's kind of distracting and disturbing to Brooke. So she goes out. She leaves Brooks in the kitchen. And she goes out to, let her son know he cannot be doing that. He cannot be throwing no ball upside the house and this, that, and the other. And while she's gone, Brooke's stirring her tea and whatnot. And evidently it's not as sweet as she wanted it to be. So she goes around and she looks over in the little canister area on the cabinet that Katie has by the water sink for some sugar. So she's kind of looking at each canister and trying to figure out what's what. And then she rolls up on the sugar container. And she pulls the sugar container out, so I guess she could, walk it back over to where she has a cup of tea. And she noticed the vodka bottle that's hidden behind the sugar pot or sugar canister. And she goes into her own web thinking like, God dog it, Bill was right. This little heifer sitting over here and taking her little swigs here and there, saying she ain't drinking, and this woman's getting lit over here. And so she, doesn't try to hide the bottle from Katie when Katie finds herself back in the kitchen area. She actually goes right past Brooke, and Brooke has the bottle all up in her hand like she's trying to do a commercial with it or something. I was like, oh my Lord. So Katie turns around and she looks in Brooke's hand, and she noticed Brooke done found her liquor bottle, and she don't look surprised, but she kind of look like, well, God dog it, I'm busted. Then she goes into this like, let me have it. I know you're going to say something, but excuse me. We go back to Bill and Wyatt, and Bill is making a plea to Wyatt to try to get in touch with his brother Liam. He's definitely been gone more than the time had really allowed for him to go, and he's getting concerned about him. He's saying, have you reached out to Liam, your brother, because he should be your first choice for the best man. And I think you need to ask him first. Now, if he decides once you get in touch with him that he don't want to support you in this endeavor, then yes, I have your back 110%. But I just don't want it to come back is the reasoning he's expressing to Liam that he should do, or that he's expressing to Wyatt that he should contact Liam, is because he don't want any back talk when Liam comes to him and say, why did you support him in that? You knew how I felt about this. He just didn't want to hear any more whining from any one of his sons, and he definitely didn't want to have any whining coming from Liam. Whew, my goodness. I'm asleep. I'm gonna take a nap after this. But anyway, we leave that scene and we go to Caroline and Steffy and Ridge and Thomas there in the office and this, that, and the other. And she's messing around with little Douglas, trying to get him to sleep and all of this. And of course, this is the time where Steffy pops the question or asks the question to Caroline, would she go on and be her matron of honor, because she go on and give her that yes answer she's looking for. And she didn't let her beg her too long. She went on and said yes, she definitely can help her out in that situation, and she was fine. And evidently her and Wyatt, Steffy and Wyatt, must have made a bet of who would get the yes response to their question quicker than the other one. And it seems like they didn't really show us that part, so I'm just guessing. But Wyatt ended up losing the bet, so he pretty much had to take his shirt off and take a selfie with just his chest being bare. And then I'm like, well, what was, if she lost, what would she have to do? The same thing? But it is what it is. So, in a sense, Steffi had won the bet. She had got Caroline to say yes first, and she calls Wyatt, or she texts Wyatt and let him know, did he ever get his decision or answer from his father whether or not he would host him or be his best man in their wedding tomorrow. And he had to text her no, because he really didn't say. He said talk with your brother first about it and see how he feels about it, and then if he comes up empty, he'll go on and stand in the place of Liam. So since Stephanie got her confirmation first, he had to take a picture. So Steffi, received the picture and everything, because he had to take it. He had to get undressed, and his father was like, "What are you doing?" And then he half-heartedly went on and told him, him and Steph had a bet that if she got her person to say yes first, then I would have to strip my shirt off and take a selfie and send it to her. And all of us in joking fun, because who would want to see, that? I mean, really? Anyway, we move on from there, and we go back to Katie and Brooke. Um, they're basically still fighting over the issue that Brooke had found the vodka bottle. And she's pleading with Brooke more so to not tell Bill. It's a one-time thing. She even went to the sink area after taking the bottle from Brooke, and just poured it all out, threw it away. And then the little place where she keeps her other little hand towels, honey, it was another same brand bottle of vodka full in that one. I'm like, wait a minute, Katie, you just gotta have all these vodka bottles full in your house, just arbitrarily laying in and everywhere. Bill might want to come in there and slice up some cheese or fruit, or whatever. He'll find it, because you just had it that plain in sight. If you open that particular drawer, there it was. So she ain't hiding her alcohol very good these days, especially if you're trying to hide it from your sister as well as your husband, and they own you like white and rice, white on rice. So I don't understand her fascination with that, or her poor hiding skills. Um, we leave that particular situation. We go back to Ridge and Thomas. In the background, everybody such as Steffi, Caroline, Thomas, and Ridge, except for Ridge, he's on the telephone. But he's on the phone making floral arrangements. So as his gift to Steffi, at such a lack of time of planning, since it's like impromptu, he just went on and ordered the flowers to come to the main house, which is, Stephanie Forrester, the matriarch of the family, as well as Eric Forrester, their home. So I guess they're having it, the wedding, the small intimate wedding with just close family and friends. They're going to have it at the Forrester compound. So he's set in place for the florist to have a nice spread of flowers for Steffi's wedding tomorrow. And she goes over to thank her father for all of that. And of course, he wholeheartedly says, she's welcome and all that, because he has to do something. She ain't really doing nothing herself. So he goes on to ask her who's on her wedding guest list, and he just blurts out, did you contact Liam? Do you think Liam needs to be at your wedding? Did you did you run it by him? And of course, she's making a good argument about it. Nobody asked Brooke to come to his nuptials with Caroline. Even though it was a small, intimate thing, and they did it to themselves, they didn't have a minister or whatnot. But it was just the whole point of it all. And, which is touche. She got her father back, but he wasn't stopping there. We go on back to Liam. Liam is caught looking at the wedding album as Quinn comes back through the door to let him know that the business that she was taking care of has already been, discussed. And yes, she's going to lose money for trying to abruptly leave in the middle of her lease, or however she has the house cabin area set up for being profitable for her if she needed to sell it or not. Uh, let's see. She goes on to tell Liam that it seems like he's getting better at finding things that he's lost or misplaced. So he's doing good at recognizing where he's left stuff. And, that's her little pun to him, or her little dig. And then, he goes on to tell her, basically he has to continue to forge ahead in finding out who he is, even though she's supposed to be supportive. She's not being so supportive anymore. So he had that little dig on her. And, he's also letting Quinn know that they don't have to leave California right now. They can just, sit there and, love on each other and try to work things out um, to whether or not, it's feasible for him to stay there. But he wants to try to, you in the background? Yeah, I'm in her room filming. I just needed a different space. And plus, I didn't want to move her laptop into the office. But, it's just basically he's mad at her. She's mad at him. They both shading each other because they're both frustrated. Uh, and he just, pretty much saying, the real estate person is right. We shouldn't leave. We should, go on and do what we have to do here. And when the time is appropriate for both of them, then they can, leave and go to another state if that's what they both decide collectively. But, Quinn ain't hearing that. She ain't hearing that at all. So we move on to Brooke and Katie. Pretty much Brooke is just analyzing why Katie felt she had to lie about hiding alcohol and consuming alcohol during the daytime hours, especially when the wheel is round. And, she's saying that Bill didn't send her over to sneak up on her to catch her in anything. He's just been concerned. And she's concerned also, and she has the rights to be concerned now because she knows that her sister Katie has lied to her and her husband about drinking. And, Katie is pleading with her not to tell Bill, and it should just be kept between them two. And if she loved her enough, she won't disclose it. But of course, Brooke is saying, I don't want to tell him, but you should tell him. You can't hide this from him because you know how Bill hates anyone lying to him. And of course, she should know because she was in a relationship with him. But Bill do lie himself, but he always think he's covering up for that person because it's a better choice to do that than have them live through the truth of the matter or whatever situation is going on. But she's like, Katie is more so like, well, you're just doing it for you to kind of sabotage me from, it hurting or being detrimental to my marriage to Bill. And that's not fair because you're supposed to be on my side with this issue and, these things. And, she's pretty much making a fool of herself because, we all know Brooke is going to go. Then she's going to expose her sister as a liar. And she's going to look like she's doing the right thing. But Brooke is just setting up a house of cards for her to go in and, get Bill to start paying attention to her. Because that's just how Brooke operates. And, she's bothering me, y'all. It is, because I'm almost finished. And so we leave that point because it's just going back and forth. We're really not hearing her. She got pretty much the information she wanted to have on her anyway, that her marriage was in trouble, and she was in fact consuming alcohol. So it's one of those things, and they're gonna have to work through it, of course. And Katie's always gonna pretty much be seen as the weak one, and Brooke is gonna swoop in, being seen as the more person with the strength and the mobility to handle things a little bit more better than fragile Katie. So it's spiraling downward for Katie as I view it. We go back to Liam and Quinn. Liam's having another episode where he's definitely, his mind is speeding up quickly to get him to the end result of finally finding out who that person really is under that veil. And I think they're going to show it to us tomorrow, but it's also going to be shown that Wyatt and Steffy is going to be married as well. So yeah, that's going to be a mess, but I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking for the drama. We go back to Steffy and Ridge. They both are discussing whether or not it is the right thing to do by keeping Liam out of the equation of asking him to come to the wedding. Well, it wouldn't be such a complex issue to discuss if anybody could get in touch with Liam. But as we know, and I'm thinking, in soap opera world, he seemed to me have been gone for at least 2 or 3 months now. Since he's not really reached out to Steffi or anybody else that have definitely tried to reach out to him, he hadn't responded back. She's not going to keep beating a dead horse. So she feels like she's all in rights to not include him and not even tell him about the situation that she's getting married to his brother. But because it'll fall on deaf ears, because Quinn already have his cell phone and she probably don't throw it away at this point of time, and it's just irrelevant right now. So as Wyatt comes in to catch up with his bride to be Steffi, he kind of gets the tail end of the conversation that Ridge is having with his daughter about why the rush and why the not inclusion of Liam and this, that, and the other. And so why, he comes in and Ridge just poses the question to him and says, okay, well, Wyatt, why is there a rush? Why are you not trying to find your brother and let him know about your nuptials and this, that, and the other, and have him come and join in, or at least give him the foreknowledge. He knows that y'all are getting married and moving on with your lives and stuff. He said, because it seems so similar to the same thing you did with Hope. He says, it's something you're trying to hide? Is it a reason why you're trying to rush this wedding so quickly? Why is the rush? Why? And then, of course, why goes in and tell him, it's not really a rush. And, him and Steffi wants to get married and they don't feel like they need to prolong it anymore. But we know where he's going with it. Of course, he's trying to rush and get Steffi all married off and stuff. But, again, he should play caution. To going down this path, because the same thing is pretty much mimicking the same thing he did with Hope. He knew he was hiding information from Hope about Liam, and he went on and tried to get married to her, and they did get married. But when she found out the truth of the information that he was hiding, they didn't stay together long. She got her marriage annulled because it was on trickery and deception. He wasn't really forthcoming with a lot of information. Same incidents with this marriage proposally, for Steffi and he knows that his mother was the last one to see Liam, and they have videotape coverage, and he wasn't really buying the what do you call it, excuse that his mother had gave him about Liam's whereabouts and this, that, and the other. So he's again hiding information, being deceptive, and it's going to come out to be the same thing. Stephanie's going to end up annulling their marriage, and her going back to Liam. So it's just one of those things. So we go back to Liam. This man is hearing voices now as she's reflecting back to the day he got married to Steffi in Colorado, and she walking up to him and this, that, and the other. He's sensing things. He's smelling things. Just everything about that wedding time frame, and her coming up to him, and he's seeing her walking up to him, and he lifting up her veil and stuff. He's getting a very clear picture of everything. But like I said, they'll probably show it to us tomorrow, and then he's gonna be tearing up the house because he's come to the reality of who he is and who he's with, and it's gonna be on like popcorn. So it's gonna be very interesting for tomorrow's episode on the 31st, which is that Wednesday? No, Thursday, tomorrow. So we'll hope to see something very nice, something very dramatized and exciting. Because like I said, today was pretty much boring, and they were just formulating the plans for the wedding that's supposed to happen tomorrow or not happen tomorrow. We will see, honey. We will see. But that's all I got, y'all. It was, like I said, pretty good. Wasn't that much involvement of any over dramatization going on. Dramatization. But look forward to reviewing tomorrow. Hope you enjoyed this review of The Bold and the Beautiful episode. Well, today's episode, March 30th. Okay? Hope y'all had a good work day. Review this at your leisure and check out my other videos on my channel. All right, see you later. Have a great afternoon and evening. Bye-bye.